This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Place Nation Pop Experience. We're double dipping this month. We have a lot of shows. We're going to be doing 2 in some weeks. And this is one of those shows. Cobra Kai, the best New Year's present we could have asked for from Netflix, is back. Season 4 dropped on New Year's Eve, and we are here to break it down. And since Netflix gives us all the episodes at one time, we're going to give you guys 3 episodes today. We're going to do 3 more in the next one, and then we'll close out on another pod. So we'll stretch over about 3 weeks worth of pods for you guys to listen to. So tonight we're going to be going over episodes 1, 2, and 3 with the gang. Let's get the gang in here and let's get underway. Shawn Kidd, what's going on?
Good evening, Andy. Wow, all in the same week, we get Boba Fett and Cobra Kai. So I'm super excited to talk about Cobra Kai tonight because I think they kicked it off with a huge bang on the first 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Scott Shifflett.
Cobra Kai is back and all is right in the world, at least temporarily.
Very good. And Tim Capel.
Yeah, starting the year off with a bang. We've got our work cut out for us, but let's hope we are game for the challenge here. Cobra Kai will never die, but we may die before our coverage is finished. So I'm rooting for us, you guys. Think we can do it.
That's right. It will be 3 stages. We're going to strike first. We're going to strike hard. Show no mercy. Yep. All right. So the first episode is titled "Let's Begin." We'll kind of pick up where we left off on the last season with Eagle Fang and Miyagi-Do forming together to fight against Cobra Kai, because there was the bet on whoever wins this year, the other one has to close their dojos. So it starts off with Terry Silver, who was on the call in the season finale from season 3. He's there playing piano. He's tickling the ivies like a damn maestro. When his phone rings, it's Kreese. He probably hangs up on them. A new era sprung at Miyagi-Do where old rivalries don't need to last forever. According to Daniel, with the tournament just a few months away, the stakes are higher than they've ever been as the newly merged dojos prepare for battle. But it's clear from the jump that Daniel and Johnny's ideologies couldn't be more different. While Daniel is once again teaching the wax-on, wax-off method, Johnny tells his maggots that the best defense is more offense. While Johnny lets the kids practice leg sweeps on Hawk, Daniel teaches breathing techniques. But as Johnny's loud obscenities irk Daniel, we see the tension already rising between the karate masters. Additionally, not all the students are accepting of Hawk's return. Even Daniel does lose his patience with him, telling him that he burned bridges with almost everyone there, which causes Hawk to storm off in frustration. It's clear that this is not one happy family, despite Sam and Miguel's efforts to keep everyone together. So, Shawn, what do you think of the start of the season here?
It's a pretty good start. I loved opening with Terry Silver and him playing his gray hair, old man hair, still long in some fashion, but playing the piano, and then he gets the call for Kreese, and he hangs up right on him. I thought that was fantastic. And yeah, I already like that we're starting this storyline of the offense, defense of the different dojos of I still have to get used to saying Eagle Fang. It sounds so ridiculous saying it. But Eagle Fang and Miyagi-Do, and they're 2 different, I guess, ideologies of karate and how they're meshing. So I like that they're setting up the storyline right away of how are they going to mesh this? How are they going to work together when they have such a different opinion on really what is the gift of life when it's karate? But overall, I really enjoyed this start. But God damn it, I was so happy to see that opening with Terry Silver so we could get a look at Old Man Silver and where we're going to go with this. I'm so excited.
Yes, the KCU is alive and well.
It really is. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Good time to be alive. Scott?
Oh, it was like returning home after coming back from college, seeing all these faces. I loved it. And I love that, Hawk, who was a dick seasons 1 through 3. Well, not at the beginning of season 1, but like a real big dick in season 2 and 3 with his abrupt face turn at the end of season 3 helping Dimitri after he broke his arm literally like 6 episodes before. everyone's like, nah, man, you're a piece of shit. And Daniel even says, like, you burned too many bridges here. Because, like, Johnny had him be, like, the test dummy where they're doing leg sweeps on him, which is deserved. So it was nice to see that. Not a fan of Johnny and Daniel already butting heads, like, 10 minutes into the episode. I was hoping that would be, like, 2 or 3 episodes. But we're only working with 10 episodes here, so can't really have a slow burn unless you're Boba Fett with 7.
Yeah. The way the season 3 ended with that in the air tonight, you thought everything was going to be great off the get-go, and that is not the case. Tim, what do you think of the beginning of the episode?
Right. Yeah, I absolutely love Old Man Silver. More like Terry Silver Fox. Am I right?
Yeah.
Looking like fucking Phantom of the Paradise there at his piano, the shot from the rear. This ridiculous reintroduction to this character who you may recall I expressed some doubt that they would really and truly bring him back, that maybe they were hinting at it, but they'd go in a different direction. I remember feeling like the character increases flashbacks in that 3rd season maybe wasn't going to be Silver, just because based on my extensive knowledge of the Karate Kid Part 3, I didn't get the sense that Silver was like even the same age as Kreese. He seemed too young to have served with him in Vietnam, but apparently that film confirmed that they did serve together. So it was like, okay, this is an old war buddy. We're getting the band back together, and we are proving that in the karate cinematic universe, there is no piece of mythology that is too obscure or shitty to mine for this show, and I am so here for it. Just give me this soap opera, this teen soap opera that pivots on all things karate. Like, yeah, we're back, baby.
Mm-hmm. All right, so over at Cobra Kai, Tori can't get the fight with Sam out of her head. When Robbie shows his face, he makes it clear that he's not joining the villainous dojo. He doesn't want to be a pawn in the conflict between Kreese and Johnny, which really just serves as a starting point for Kreese to begin his inevitable brainwashing. Kreese then goes and crashes a party at Silver's house, tells his former ally that he wants to finish what we started. Silver seems pretty content to chill at his beach-sized manor, so of course Kreese brings up Vietnam. The disrespect that was shown as veterans is why they started Cobra Kai in the first place. Kreese wants to continue to teach the next generation. He also tells Silver that Johnny and Daniel have teamed up, which flabbergasts Silver. I need a partner, and the only other person that knows how to teach Cobra Kai is you, Kreese says. But Silver turns him down, stating he can't believe he spent months terrorizing a teenager over a karate tournament. But after the 80s ended, he gave up the nose candy, got some therapy, straightened himself out. For now, it's a no for Silver, but we all know that's bound to change. All right, Scott, so we get a little more... we get to see what's going on over at Cobra Kai, and we get the face-to-face between Kreese and Silver. What's going on?
Yeah, it was nice to see the check-in with Cobra Kai because, in the first couple of seasons, they weren't shown as the heels. Like, it was real 50-50 face-heel dynamic between Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai because we had Johnny and Miguel with Cobra Kai, but season 3 with, Johnny being kicked out, Miguel leaving Cobra Kai, they're definitely the heels now. Tori is just a fucking lunatic, as we have seen in previous seasons, which continues with this. And, her and Sam, Sean's favorite, straight up hate each other. But it was just love seeing in Robbie showing up. And, he's like, I'm not joining. Like, he must think he's fucking Sting in 1996 or something. Just hanging out, brooding and everything. Kreese showing up to Silver's house was amazing, where they're all eating, having, tofu and everything. And Kreese is, looking at Silver like he's just, some big pussy right now. And just, this is what you're doing right now. But, he brings up the Vietnam thing, because Kreese knows how to play Silver like he plays everyone else, it appears, to get what he wants. And he tells him that Cobra Kai is him. But I will say Silver saying how he admits that he terrorized a teenager over a karate tournament while doing cocaine. And then they had the flashback of Daniel punching the board with his hand, and we see him laughing. It's just absurd. I'm laughing as I'm talking about now, but it's just like, this is what I signed up for, and this is what I need. It's like if Cobra Kai was giving me the book of sugar that Silver was snorting in the 80s.
Tim, follow that.
I can't, because Scott said it marvelously. I love, by the way, I'm just going to say, I'm not going to spoil anything, beyond what we're covering for this episode, but I will just say, I've watched the entire series, so I know where we're headed. And this is just the beginning of an amazing character arc for this character, Terry Silver, who starts out as like the one of the few characters, perhaps the only character other than Amanda LaRusso to have any degree of self-awareness, and to directly acknowledge that he was a bad villain in a bullshit 80s action movie, basically. And he wants no part of any of this ever again. And the turns that will be taking place over this span of 10 episodes, it's going to be, you're in for quite the ride if you haven't finished this season out yet, because it is a thing of beauty. And yes, I love seeing Kreese play him like a fiddle, as he does everyone, because this is how the show works, and it's all the better for it. I will say, just backing up a little bit, I also share and Scott's discontent that Johnny and LaRusso are butting heads so early on already. I think we've expressed that really the highlight of most seasons is like that one or two episodes where it seems like those two are on the same page for a little while, and we get a little team up before things inevitably go to shit. And to start the season out with them being on the same page showed a lot of promise. So I was hoping we get more of that cooperative, more friendly rivalry than what it devolves into very quickly from the jump here. So that's a little bit disappointing, but not all that unexpected, given the show as we've come to know it.
All right, Shawn.
Yeah, I'm just going to add on to the Terry Silver greatness. I like Tim, and I think all of us here, we've all watched the entire season already. We're just talking the first three, but this amazing arc with Terry Silver, to Tim's point, is a true highlight of this entire series. Like him just being like this reformed pussy, I guess would be the way to say it. And then the promo he cuts about, oh, you know what? The 80s are great when I was doing coke, and then I terrorized this teenager for 3 months. What the fuck was I doing? That was amazing self-awareness. And this is really great about Cobra Kai is it's not concerned about making fun of itself. It's not concerned about being campy. They live in what their ridiculousness is. And it makes the show even better because you suspend all disbelief in this because the freaking creators of this show do. So,
it knows what it is and it doesn't care.
Yeah, it's
in some ways, the show is review proof because of that. So it's
correct, because they know what they are and they purposely make it that way because to your point, it's review proof, and idiots like us are gonna freaking eat up every bit of it. So
yeah.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. So yeah, I'm all in on Terry. Like I almost feel like the first 10-15 minutes of this and Terry Silver being back has me more invested in Terry Silver than I was in a Karate Kid 3 already.
Which, I mean, think about what an awful, stupid movie that is. Like,
yes.
I mean, delightfully so. I mean, talk about something that knows what it is. But like that's a bad movie, right? Like we can all agree. And to think that all these years later, 30 years later, well, they're going to bring back this Terry Silver character, and he's going to be incredibly compelling and well written. You're like, fuck off. Like, there's no way.
Like, legit, like, that, not to get too far ahead, but like how Tim and Shawn have said, his arc is fucking amazing. Like, it's something amazing that I would not expect from the show at all.
By the way, and I love like hoity-toity social snob Terry Silver. I just absolutely adore him.
No, it's Terrence. Shawn.
Sorry, Terrence. That's
Terrence
right. That's right. My bad. Sorry.
All right. So Daniel visits Johnny to apologize for them getting off on the wrong foot. Since he brought beer, the two have a sit down. For the sake of the students, Daniel wants Johnny to officially join Miyagi-Do so they can all be on the same page. But Johnny doesn't want to give up the Eagle Fang name, leading Daniel to wonder how if their deal is ever going to work. It's not, Johnny says with sadness. They agree to tell the kids they're splitting up. When Robbie finally suits up for Cobra Kai, the rest of the dojo is immediately standoffish. He says if any one of them can land a hit on him, he'll bounce. Most of them fail thanks to Robbie's use of Miyagi-Do's defense. But Tori finally lands a kick straight to his face. When Robbie tries to walk, she tells him to stay. Robbie gives the Cobras a pep talk saying that to defeat the enemy, it helps to know the enemy's playbook, and he's going to teach them the art of Miyagi-Do. So, Daniel and Johnny are self-aware pretty much. They can see that they're never going to see eye to eye. Robbie finally decides to drink the Cobra Kai Kool-Aid. Tim, what do you make of this part of the episode?
So I kind of like this because while Daniel and Johnny are butting heads, it seems to be leading to more of a self-contained resolution here in this first episode where, one of the themes of this series is for as much as these kids are learning from their adopted fake dads, basically, the dads are learning from the kids at the same time, right?
Yeah, because real parents don't exist in the case of you.
Well, real parents are shitty, so you have to find, if you're a kid that exists in the Karate Cinematic Universe, you must immediately find a new dad. You may the moms are kind of okay. The moms sort of like,
you bet they are.
Okay, indeed. They'll have some flaws, but you don't have to find a new mom. You definitely have to find a new dad if you're a kid in the Cobra Kai universe. But the dads, the de facto dads, are going to learn as much from these kids as the kids are going to learn from them. So the children will be the glue that holds the united Miyagi-Do Eagle Fang together, right? So I'm okay with that. I'm on board with telling that story. So that's what I was hoping to see. Just this uneasy alliance always threatening to crumble, but never quite pulling the trigger on it. That's what I wanted to see sort of throughout the season. Now, is that what we'll get? Stay tuned.
Good friends, better enemies. Shawn, what'd you make of this part of the episode?
Yeah, I thought the breakup was kind of. So here's one thing I realized, and this is also a common theme throughout the series, is LaRusso is kind of a dick and like thinking he's right. He's always like pimping Miyagi-Do, and he has a problem seeing viewpoints of others and other, I guess, karate styles or whatever. And this is an ongoing theme for him in this whole series.
And lifestyles.
And lifestyles in general, right? So we'll see a lot of that play out, which is really well written, by the way, through the course of the series, I think. I was a little disappointed that the breakup happened that quick. I guess it was pretty evident that, they just can't exist, whatever. As far as what I do love is Robbie joining Cobra Kai and the willingness to show them, guys, you want to be Cobra Kai, learn their style, because if you learn their style on top of the style that we have, you do the offense and the defense, you'll be unstoppable. It makes perfect sense in the narrative, and that gets Robbie in with them right away. So, yeah, really just again, they just continue to lay seeds, and as the show goes on over the course of this season, every seed they plant in early episodes just plays out like just this. I'm gonna be like socialite Terrence Silver, where I just say it plays out like this beautiful symphony.
All right, Scott.
I agree with what Shawn and Tim said, but I will say it was funny when they were sharing beers, and LaRusso goes, "You've got the name Eagle Fang from this poster on your wall," and it pans back, and it's a poster of an eagle and an American flag.
Yeah,
and you're like, yes, Johnny Lawrence always takes the easy way out. I did love that, and Robbie showing that he's I'm gonna say it, he's a piece of shit. So, yeah.
So hot though.
Yeah. When Tori and him have that weird sexual tension that you think they're just gonna bang on the floor in front of everyone, when she like kicks him in the face and he's about to leave and she's like, "Don't leave, honey." But yeah, it's nice to set up what's going to happen with the rest of, as Shawn said, they leave these breadcrumbs and they pay it off at the end.
Mm-hmm. All right. So when Johnny and Daniel go to break the news to the kids, Hawk is battering the fence with a mallet. He and the rest of the students are building an Okinawan sparring deck. Johnny and Daniel give each other proud looks and tell the kids they approve. In the last shot of the episode, Silver roundhouse kicks a bottle of wine in his basement. Looks like the guy still got some moves after all. So, Shawn, so I guess they don't really break up. They, I guess, agree to disagree. So
well, you know, building an Okinawa, whatever pit you caught it, unifies people. Like we should all take this tidbit from the KCU universe and build our own Okinawa fight pits, and the world will be united.
They solved a problem using karate principles, and that's what's most important.
And that's what's missing in today's world, Tim. We should all do the same thing. And yeah, I also like the slow build now. You see Terrence is now starting to kind of turn it. I love the bottle, and he kicks it and it just shatters across the wall. So good ending on the episode 1, and really good laying. Unlike Boba Fett, does a really, really great job of laying the groundwork for what's to come in the rest of the season, I thought.
All right. Scott?
Like I like the little surprise with Hawk, because I thought he was going to go destroy that big rock that they have in the backyard, and like I was gonna bring everyone together. I don't know. Thankfully, I don't write for fucking television, because that shit would have made no sense. But I like how they explained it with like, oh, Mr. Miyagi had this extra plot of land, and we're just knocking the fence down. It's like, all right, Miyagi, like, how'd you have all these cars and this land in California? Like, okay, whatever. But, Terrence, slowly starting to turn into Terry when he roundhouse kicked the bottle of wine was just great. I was like, I couldn't hit play next episode quick enough for episode 2.
All right, Tim?
First of all, I really pop for Scott shitting on his own hypothetical television writing abilities. That's tremendous. So yeah, we see Hawk here subverting expectations to some extent. I like that he's having to work for this redemption, which we've seen throughout this premiere. Like, I was very critical of his face turn being as abrupt as it was in that finale to season 3. I didn't think they really worked for that one. But it is consistent with everyone's motivations just turning on a dime as it suits the plot of the show. I mean, that's soap opera 101. So I guess, again, that's how the show is a little bit review proof. So yes, we're going to get some more character development for Hawk here, on his road to redemption, you could say. Meanwhile, Robbie embracing the dark side, I am very much here for. I like him as the wild card here in Cobra Kai, who is basically familiar with all the disciplines. He is, he was the crown jewel of Miyagi-Do karate, and now he's gonna take over Cobra Kai basically as their king, as Kreese puts it. Not a pawn like the others. So, Kreese, you got to love recognizing the show that he's in and recognizing that here's a kid who thought he found his new dad, but that didn't work out. So he's still in search of a dad. So now Kreese is like, I can be his dad. So we're going to see that relationship be fleshed out as we go on as well. And I'm very much enjoying these little parallels that they're setting up between characters. Certainly, Tori's rivalry with Sam going to be a continuing subplot to track as well. I really like the character of Tori, by the way. She is quietly,
I agree with you. Yep.
Won me over in ways that I was not prepared for.
Unlike Sam.
Well, we've been critical of Sam also.
I just see. I have a, Peyton List is the name of the actress. She was. I probably mentioned this when we did this before. She was on a show on the Disney Channel called Jessie, where she was like this little prissy, rich girl, basically. And it just blows my mind. This is the same girl. I have a daughter. That's why I watched it. So,
well, sure.
Seems kind of wrong now, doesn't it? I mean, Just saying.
I mean, I go the other direction in that I can't picture her being like a goody type character. I can't imagine. So what a versatile.
You just see her as a batshit crazy bitch, basically.
Yes.
All right. We also get a nice in memoriam card for Ed Asner, who passed away this past year. He played the real dick, stepfather to Johnny Lawrence. So probably one of his last roles. But so that was a nice thing that they did. So that leads us into, like Scott said, let's just click the next episode start. We move into First Learn Stan, which is episode 2. So thus far, so much attention has been given to Sam LaRusso that it's easy to forget that Anthony even existed. We don't even recognize him. Just wrote him off as another generic school bully. But when it dropped, that it was that he growing up with all this focus on Sam, he's growing up feeling resentful. Of course, he would rebel against his dad's most essential tenets of tolerance, understanding, and respect. Only makes sense. We don't know much about this Kenny kid. He's alone a lot. His dad is in the army. His mom's always at work. Something happened to his brother. Initially, we are kept in the dark about it, but at the end of the episode, we learn he's in juvie. Kenny is more of a useful narrative tool than an actual character at this stage. So it starts off with, you get this new kid that we've never seen before, playing some game that he's addicted to, like a Minecraft type deal. He goes and he's listening to his headphones. He's dancing and he doesn't realize it, but the school bus pulls up and he gets made fun of immediately, with Anthony LaRusso being one of the chief bullies. So Scott, let's start with you. What do you think of the beginning of this episode, where we get introduced to Kenny and the reemergence of Anthony LaRusso?
I guess this is Cobra Kai, the new class. We're about to start aging these kids out, and we're not going to be like Saved by the Bell, where they did like 5 years of high school. So I took it as this, and I thought Kenny was a good character to start with, because they show that he's a new student already, which I thought was good, and he doesn't know what the hell's going on in the All Valley Cobra Kai massacre of 2016 to 2020. Even though I know this is just technically supposed to be 1 year, as we later find out, but it was it was nice. And then we get had the little tag with the opening scene. We see tell him LaRusso, and we see Anthony LaRusso. Which, is this a new actor playing this character? Because they even make a joke with when Johnny has dinner with him. He was like, "Oh, would you lay off? Would you switch to Whopper Juniors?" Because I literally have no room to talk, but he was a little fat shit, and now the kid seems to be kind of skinny. But I just then sad bullying, and then but like Sean said, talking about episode 1, we see some breadcrumbs that are going to pay off to a full meal by the end of the season. But just interesting to see, and I was excited to see where it would go, to be honest.
All right. Tim, what do you think of the beginning of this episode?
Well, recap. If you're going to throw some analysis into your play-by-play and accuse this Kenny kid of being more of a narrative device, I believe they called him, than a character, then I'm going to level that same claim at Anthony LaRusso.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is, leave it to the professionals, Anthony is, he's not been a character in this series up until this season. Definitely. We've seen him, but he's been more of that, background, shitty Greek chorus. He's there to say something obnoxious and then walk away. Just to kind of remind everyone that they're watching a silly soap opera that is review proof. He's definitely been annoying, but now that they've made him into an actual character, he's pretty unbearable. And I say that with full knowledge that I have faith that the writers know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly how unlikable they're making this kid. And I think it was really probably as of this episode, and I have no strong feelings on Kenny one way or another. It's definitely tough to see him getting bullied by this absolute jerk off of a kid. And Anthony, it's he is like my most hated character in all of television history on the strength of this one episode, which feels like quite an achievement. Like, I hate this kid so much. And I get that it's like that middle school thing where it's like it's a really bad time for any person that no one looks back on and thinks of their middle school self as like a personal highlight. I don't think, like, middle schoolers are just famously complete shit cunts, and this episode has really, really gone out of its way to highlight that. Like, boy, do I hate this character, this kid in this TV show. So my hat's off to the writing staff for creating a truly revolting, hateable, detestable character here in this middle school child.
All right, Shawn?
So if I get serious for a minute, so someone that was pretty heavily bullied as a kid, which, I won't get into that because this is obviously not, this is not what it's
I've
about.
got my stories too.
Yeah, sure. So I was bullied pretty bad as a kid. So the whole Kenny thing for me, actually, I was pretty uncomfortable because it took me back to a time in the 80s where I was going through that same thing. And, the guy, really, what did he do? The guy was looking forward to his first day. He's out on the street dancing. Okay, so what? What kid do you not see dancing? It's all over fucking TikTok now. Right. So it's like, is it really that bad a thing he did? And what's interesting about LaRusso as a bully, he is a bully for social acceptance because of the people he wants to be his friends, because he doesn't want to be a bully, but he plays such a really good one because he wants to be accepted by these other assholes. And I agree with Tim. He is one of the worst. I cannot stand him because just the way he treats Kenny. And again, I have my own thoughts on them adding Kenny as a character in itself, but it does play into the narrative. But I have a hard time right now distinguishing who I hate more. Is it Samantha or is it her brother? Because
it's her brother.
Because no, I think I hate them both equally as much because one is a conniving, manipulative bitch. The other one is just a cock-sucking bully, and I hate them both. So anyway, the whole bully thing for me was a very uncomfortable storyline. That, again, another nugget that'll play out in the end that I'll be very happy out the outcome, I think. And I'll leave it at that.
Andy's
got a lot of editing on this pod, by the way, because we're just right. Anyway.
Right.
But look, I mean, that's something that it feels realistic and it feels very
it's uncomfortable. It's a real
personalized,
thing,
uncomfortable, and they kind of personalized this for I think a lot of people, and it's very effective writing.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I hate Anthony LaRusso, that other kid, that kid with the blonde hair with the
all of them.
What a little douche.
Yeah.
Fuck them kids.
By the way, and that's a kid that I think would get bullied because he doesn't look like a bully. He looks like one that would get bullied because they're all a bunch of they all look like a bunch of idiots and morons. So and LaRusso's the only one that actually looks like he could be a bully, to be honest with you.
All right, so Amanda shows up at Tori's job to lay down a threat and make sure Tori doesn't do anything to Sam before the tournament. Tori has an aggressive reaction, of course, and gets fired and is upset. The new kid, then Kenny, has worries when he has to play ball with Anthony and his friends, but he's good at basketball despite their teasing. He embarrasses Anthony by hitting him in the face with the ball, and Anthony is ready to do something about it when the girl he likes, Leah, tells him to simmer down and cut the new kid some slack. Leah tells Kenny to ignore Anthony and his friend. Kenny seems to have developed a crush on Leah, same as Anthony, which Anthony notices, and he is not happy about. So Amanda's getting into the fray here, Tim, as well as, we get a little bit more with this new kid who's going to be a little bit more than a plot device.
I'm gonna leave the Kenny Anthony thing alone. I think I've kind of said my piece on that plot. Other than I agree with Shawn that Anthony is clearly doing all this out of a need for social acceptance, which feels like a very middle school thing, I guess. But also there's maybe a hint of jealousy because Kenny's making time with this girl who maybe Anthony is interested in, which again, that's going to lead to things when you are that age for sure. But that is not to excuse any of the treatment here of Kenny at the hands of Anthony. I mean, Kenny seems like a sweet kid, a perfectly fine, normal, well-adjusted little kid who just gets completely shit on by this asshole. And the road that he's going to go down is, I don't know, kind of justified. So we'll get to that.
Maybe Eli 2.0.
I mean, yeah, in some ways. Like I'm kind of, he does sort of remind me of Hawk in certain respects. Who we forget that Hawk was very, very badly mistreated before he reinvented himself through karate, because all things through karate. But anyway, Amanda stepping it up here. I like that she immediately has more of a presence this season, which this is going to continue. Not that she hasn't been featured in past seasons, but it feels like she's more in the mix of things here, and is one of the, again, rare level-headed characters who has a perspective beyond karate. And karate is all. Like she sort of wants to help people navigate the world in more realistic ways, and at the same time forgets what show she is on, because this immediately backfires when she confronts Tori and ends up getting her fired. So she kind of stepped in it here, her intentions being good, but has done nothing to extinguish this fire. So glad we're keeping that flame burning.
Speaking of flame burning, we're going on to Shawn talking about Amanda showing up at Tori's job. Shawn, what do you make of this part?
Listen, I love angry, bitchy Amanda. Like I said it before. I'm gonna try and keep this as PC as I can. I love Amanda LaRusso, and I love this whole confrontation and her threatening Tori. And this just seems like you got one bitch on top of another bitch, and just them go like it's just such a great dynamic. And it's a little kind of a late start for Amanda in this series, but it's really great. Tori getting fired just adds more fuel to the fire, obviously, right? But yeah, I'm sure I'll have a lot more to say about Amanda as the season goes on. But yeah, I'm so glad to have Ming-Na and her back in the same week is like the best Christmas gift I could have got all year. So I'm very happy. Did you wish
that this was Amanda yelling at you at work?
Amanda could yell at me anytime she wants, anywhere she wants, and she could do it naked, and that's all I'm going to say.
Oh.
So moving on. The only thing I will say about Kenny and Anthony, guys, is if you notice, all they're doing is stealing from the first Karate Kid and the whole Johnny and Daniel story. It's the same exact story. New kid gets bullied. Mm-hmm. They just flash repeat.
Well, it's just like that with Kyler and Miguel.
It's like they're just going back and retreading old storylines, but for some reason it works and we're still here for it. So, just good stuff. And again, like I just love how every scene, like it's like every time Andy talks about some scenes, it's just like they're just laying a narrative, which a lot of shows don't do that, where it's just stuff happens, nothing really comes of it. They're just laying brick by brick by brick and just building this whole thing, which it's pretty incredible when you think about how many shows we've done on this podcast and how Cobra Kai just seems to be doing it brilliantly in the first 2 episodes.
Cobra Kai, it's funny too. It's like Cobra Kai is like the most ridiculous out of all of them, but it's probably
But the writing,
storytelling,
it's great. The writing does a really good job in storytelling, no matter how ridiculous it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's like the easiest to talk about because there's just so much happening that there's always something to react to. We're never at a loss for words when it comes.
And you don't have to think about it. You don't have to really theorize or say, "Hey, Mephisto's behind Cobra Kai." We can just enjoy it and talk about it.
Yeah.
All right, Scott.
I didn't like Amanda confronting Tori.
You go piss off.
I just thought it was out of character for her.
Out of character for who?
For Amanda.
Listen, the girl's threatening her daughter. You're damn right she's going to step up.
But she always like dunks on people. It's like they're still fighting over their 30-year-old.
Move on.
Good God, let him get it.
All right, go ahead, Scott.
Because she's always like making fun of like Johnny and Daniel for like, oh, they're still talking about their 30-year-old battle.
Karate rivalry.
Yeah, karate rivalry. Like, 'cause she was making fun of it with Elizabeth Shue's character, and then we see it with Carmen's character as well. And with her doing that, like, yes, I see, like, I see why she did it, but like the way she did it was like really heavy-handed, and like she redeems herself later with Tori, but it was just like, what are you doing? Like you gotta like she ended up quitting. She's coming off as a little bit of a bitch, but yeah. And Anthony, he can go fuck himself.
I don't think I could stand for this this disparaging remarks about my Amanda. This could be a problem.
Amanda slander.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
Amanda.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to put up with this, Scott. So watch yourself.
You gonna leg sweep me?
I couldn't get up if I tried.
I think that it would have been out of character for Amanda as of maybe a season ago or two, but after Tori brutalized her daughter in the karate riot at school,
and tore up her house, tore up her
home. Yeah, she has the line. She had a great line. I think it was in the first episode. Yeah. A small child was thrown through our window. Like that kind of ups the stakes in a way that I could see her stepping out in ways that she wouldn't before, where she kind of was sort of too cool for this, above it all. But now shit's getting kind of real. Shit has been real, but it's affecting her in ways that she is not going to stand for.
Well, Tim, you bring up a good point with that, because I can't remember if it's the first episode or the second episode where Daniel comes home and they have a security system in now, and Amanda is like terrified, but then like we don't see that followed up like at all, really. So if that was followed up any, where she's like terrified to leave her house and everything, but no, it's like business as usual, sadly.
I think this kind of was the follow up, her breaking bad on Tori here, or it was meant to be.
She's not terrorized to leave her house. She's terrorized because they broke into her house, and now she's laying the groundwork for Tori to say, "Bitch, step off." That's what she's doing.
I definitely think there's a degree of paranoia that it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
But she's still, she's still going to be a bad bitch to, put that fine of a point on it.
All right. So we get back to Daniel teaching Johnny Miyagi-Do, and he reminds him of how Miyagi karate isn't boring and saved Johnny's life twice. Robbie teaches the Cobra Kai's Miyagi-Do, but how to be more reactive and use it to their advantage. Tori tells Kreese about Amanda and coming and losing her job. Kenny talks to his father, who is overseas in the military. And then Kenny and who he thinks is Leah play on the video game together, which is Dungeon Lord, I think it's called, and get closer, but it's really Anthony and his friends. They set up a catfish situation, so Kenny meets them. Kreese tells Amanda to lay off Tori and shares Tori's rough background. It makes Amanda feel guilty. Johnny shows Daniel the way of Eagle Fang. Anthony's friends Zach and the others make fun of Kenny when he shows up, and they goad Anthony into joining them and beating up Kenny, but Kenny manages to get away and hide in a dumpster. So a lot happens here. We get, Daniel and Johnny trying to teach each other's ways. We show Robbie, teaching Cobra Kai, which is actually they're more receptive than Johnny really is, which is kind of amazing. And we get a nice Kreese and Amanda, interaction here in what I'm guessing is almost a Whole Foods, maybe, I don't know. But and then we get the poor kid showing up for the cosplay thing. So Shawn, what's going on here?
Yeah, the minute I saw the guy when they logged onto the computer after that rough day at school, I knew immediately it was going to be a catfish situation. Again, just setting up this bully thing and where Kenny's going to go. You kind of see already where it's going to head for Kenny. They wouldn't set up the storyline if you didn't already kind of figure out where it's going to go. It's this very simplistic storytelling to set up a long-term thing of what they're going to do with Kenny. Kreese, I love that Kreese shows up at the supermarket, and Amanda calls him out on his restraining order, and then Kreese says, "No, I think actually you're too close to me," and then she just steps right into his face. So again, more of her just being this badass bitch. I'm here for it, and Scott, I don't care if you like it or not. As far as what else we were talking about, the Johnny and Daniel teaching each other their different karates. I love it. Because seeing Daniel trying to learn Cobra Kai stuff is amazing, and seeing Johnny just being he's like he just has such a disdain for Miyagi-Do and the way they do things. I just love, and this has been an ongoing theme that we've talked about in this show, is the dynamic and the teamwork and the relationship between Daniel and Johnny is just so refreshing to see. If you were to watch that movie in 1984, and then you would say, here we are almost 40 years later, and these guys are going to team up and be a team, I would have said no way that was ever going to happen. So just really, really good stuff.
All right, Scott?
Yeah, Kreese showing up to confront Amanda was pretty chilling because Kreese just scares the shit out of me. He's just terrifying. But like the thing with Anthony, you see that he's a nerd too because like he starts talking about the character that Kenny was going to dress up as, and the little blonde-haired fuck was like, "How do you know this?" And he's like, "Oh, I used to be into it." So like it's showing that he's a nerd too, but he still goes along with it. And it's just heartbreaking when that kid shows up and like he accidentally breaks Anthony's cell phone, and like you can tell that Anthony is skated by and saying like he knows karate because he's like, "Come on, bust out those moves, and then the kid runs off, and when he's hiding in the dumpster, it sucked. Like that was just like a heartbreaking scene. I love like the two guys learning each other's ways. I always thought that was fun because like we talked about this with the first episode, we love when these two guys are together working as a team and not like at each other's throats. Like this is what we want. Like I never would have thought when I watched Cobra Kai as a kid Karate Kid as a kid that they would have like a series that is happening for 4 seasons, and I just want Daniel Russo and Johnny Lawrence to be best friends with each other. It's it's absurd, but I love it every second.
Yeah, well, Shawn can probably back me up on this, and you guys can as well, but being almost the same age, that you never thought we'd see William Zabka as the as the protagonist in this series. Like he was the 80s bad guy. I mean, between this and Just One of the Guys and Back to School, he was always a douche. No matter what.
I absolutely hated him in the 80s. Absolutely despised. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Agree.
Oh yeah. Great guy though. I did speak to him on the phone once. Tim.
Well, and it just goes to show how far this concept has evolved from its initial premise of, what if the main bully from Karate Kid, but from his perspective, what if he's really the hero? Like such a stupid edgelordy kind of take, right? That I know that there were those little fan theories floating around on the internet in like the early 2000s. It's like, Johnny Lawrence is secretly the hero of Karate Kid, and you can do.
It's funny you mention that, Tim, because I watched How I Met Your Mother, which was a shitty fucking show because the last season was just brutal.
Yeah, didn't they do a whole thing with it?
But Barney was like did a thing where like they bring Billy Zabka on, and like Barney's whole thing is like Daniel Russo was the real villain of Karate Kid. Right. So like that's how I heard about it, and like just what you're saying.
But think about the evolution. It started on YouTube TV. That's not even a thing anymore.
YouTube Red.
Yeah. Or YouTube Red, whatever it was, and here it is now. Like who would have thought back then that this is where the show would be at this point, right? So
and I guess my point is just that felt like such a tired take, even when the show started. That I remember when I think I watched the first episode for free. The first episode or two on YouTube, they did like a promotional gimmick to try to get people to sign up for YouTube Red, which worked on me and Scott. Largely,
yes.
The show, it was like, this is actually a lot better than that initial premise would suggest, and to see how far we've come is really quite shocking for going on 5 seasons now. But all of that is to say, as much as the concept has evolved, so too has what bullying looks like. So it's hard for me to fathom that bullying is still a thing today, I guess. But I guess kids don't really get it in the same way that, our old asses did growing up when we were kids, where it was more of like a kind of physical and verbal sort of mistreatment. Now it's like more psychological torment where it's not like it just ends during the school day. Like, this kid is getting harassed online. He's getting, as Shawn said, catfished in this fucking game because, that's what their world is basically is these screens and these games. So I sort of appreciated that they put, as uncomfortable as the bullying scenes are to watch, it feels like they put more of a modern, realistic spin on it. I don't know how realistic this is to kids who might actually be experiencing these things or not today, but it felt like, it wasn't that cliche version of what we all remember from like the 80s. So that was well handled, I thought. And also the confrontation between Amanda and Kreese. I always like the scenes between the two of them. There's a good one at like the that shitty school board meeting in like the third season where she flat out called him a piece of shit. And he gets the restraining order and then calls her on the fact that she is in violation of his restraining order, which is so great. I like Kreese recognizing he cannot play her the way that he can play other characters, because she's really above all this karate bullshit. And you can tell he has a level of respect for her that he doesn't for some of the other characters in this show. So I definitely enjoy all of their exchanges. Finally, Johnny and LaRusso continuing their team up. Look, I'm just a mark for tag team partners who hate each other and yet are so effective that they cannot deny their partnership. And that's what we're getting a lot of here. And I want to keep seeing this dynamic between the two of them. I'm really feeling it.
All right, cool. All right, so Johnny takes Daniel to a hockey game for some beers after training and riles up the hockey players, instigating a fight. The hockey players try to take on Daniel afterwards, but Daniel beats them all up while Johnny invokes Miyagi-Do philosophy of not being there and avoiding a fight. Tori confronts Amanda with the groceries Amanda bought for her family and tells her that Amanda lit a fire under her to beat Sam now. She doesn't want to be somebody's charity. Kenny tells his brother in juvie, the same guy that was beating up Robbie when he was in there, that he's getting beaten up and that one of them knows karate. His brother tells him he knows someone who can help. So I enjoy the ending of this episode because, I mean, the fact that Daniel takes on basically a starting lineup of a hockey team, and they're all pretty much in their gear, as well as, we get this revelation that Kenny's brother is the guy that was giving Robbie the hard time, but Robbie did earn his respect in juvie. So Scott, what do you think of the ending of this episode?
These writers fucking can pull the smallest thing from when Robbie was in these being bullied himself, getting his ass beat on the daily in juvie. Then he makes friends with the guy who was like, because he fights back, and then they don't snitch on each other. Because I watched the season 3 recap before I started season 4, episode 1, and that was brought up, and I thought it was just shown to be like, this is what Robbie had to go through last season as well. But to bring that, and it's like, oh my God, they are leaving like no character unturned. Like the smallest ones that you may see, like you think are just like one-offs, are not one-offs, because then it's like, oh, this is his little brother, which I thought was great. And the hockey scene where Daniel's whooping ass, they even talk about Shawn. I'm surprised you didn't jump through the TV right here, because they said they were basically going to bang Amanda LaRusso. So
I haven't gotten to speak about it yet, but I was bothered by that.
So I was like, damn. But no, it was a pretty cool scene, and Daniel's swinging that stick around, and I thought they were going to get busted by the cops, but the cops are just made up. There's no such thing as cops, obviously, in Cobra Kai.
there's no police in KCU.
No, but like he whooped like 6 players' ass. I mean, the one with the shitty blonde dye job, who must have thought he was like Slim Shady, but this isn't 2002. He deserved that ass whooping for that haircut.
Okay.
I think what we need, speaking of law enforcement in this series, is like a KVU in the KCU, the Karate Victims Unit, because they would have their fucking hands full in the valley here with all these karate related incidents. Police very ineffective if they exist at all in this world. all things are connected, right? Everything is connected. Kenny cannot just be some random one-off character who's newly introduced to the show. He must have ties to a character we've seen before. I think we're all kind of winding up for that reveal. I had no inklings really of who that might be, but sure, why not? Pretty effective payoff there. So that gives him an immediate connection by proxy to Robbie. And just such fabulous soap opera writing there. That's the type of thing that normally bothers me in a real show, but this is not a real show, so who gives a shit? It's very effective here. It just gives them a reason to have more of a relationship than they would otherwise, Robbie and Kenny here.
All right. Shawn?
On the hockey thing, Johnny instigating the hockey player and saying LaRusso is calling him all these different names is fantastic. And you thought that they made amends. He's like, hey, he's just talking. I apologize for my friend here. And you thought everything was cool. Then you see him walking down the halls, and here comes all these hockey players. And then the next thing you know, Johnny just leaves him by himself for Daniel to fight him. I thought that was fantastic. And I also think that's very typical of Johnny. He's like, hey, you know what? Just fend for yourself. And LaRusso kicking the whole hockey team's ass was pretty impressive. And listen, this is just another reason why the show is absolutely ridiculous. Who goes to a hockey game, yells at a hockey player, and in the end is just taking on the whole hockey team and beating them up with karate? Then on top of that, takes a hockey stick and breaks it over their back. Like, this is so asinine and ridiculous that they know it too. This is why we get away with shit like this. And to Tim's point, this is why it's also review proof. I like the little throwback to Robbie being in jail and Kenny's brother being one of the ones in jail. So, just great storytelling. And again, at this point, the soap opera writing on this show is just unbelievably fantastic and great. Just awesome.
Beauty. All right, so that's going to bring the end of episode 2. We're going to take a quick break and come back with season 4, episode 3, Then Learn Fly, in just a minute here on Pop Goes to the Couch with Shawn Kidd, Scott Shifflett, and Tim Capel. I'm Andy Atherton. We'll be right back. All right, we are back here covering Cobra Kai Season 1. We're going through the first 3 episodes tonight on Pop Goes to the Couch. We've talked about episodes 1 and 2. Now we're up to Season 4, Episode 3, Then Learn Fly. So let's get the show on the road and let's get this one broken down. So practice is going well for the guys and the students. They figured out how to work together, meaning Eagle Fang and Miyagi-Do. Miguel, Carmen, and Johnny have dinner at the LaRusso's house, and the topic of school comes up. As well as the future. Daniel wants Sam to run the dealership or get an MBA, but she doesn't seem into it. Miguel wants to go to Stanford, but Carmen reminds him that it's too expensive. So we get a lot of back and forth here with with Cobra Kai. Eagle Fang and Miyagi-Do, learning how to work together, and we get this dinner party. Tim, what do you think of the beginning of this episode?
Good stuff. Once again, it's the adults learning from the kids. The teacher must now become the student. So Daniel and Johnny are going to continue to learn how to best work together from their kids, who have pretty much got this figured out. They've got it licked. And that just makes all the sense in the world, given the relationships that we've come to know amongst these characters. We haven't seen a lot of school-based stuff with these characters this season. We've kind of moved away from that, but we know they've got pretty rich history. So this all makes sense. I also enjoyed the dinner scene because it gives us maybe our first really extended talk of what the future might hypothetically look like for some of our principal younger characters. It's like you get so wrapped up in all these karate shenanigans, you forget that there is a life beyond the present, and like, what kind of aspirations, what kind of hopes do they have? Where do they see themselves going after all of this is behind them? And are their lives going to look like those of their parents or their adopted dads? And I don't know, it's just fun to see that hinted at, even if, you know, we're still quite some ways out from you know, seeing them fill out college applications and whatnot.
All right, Shawn.
Yeah, the dinner was fine. I like them all getting together, and yet to Tim's point, it's like, all right, what does the future hold? I mean, God forbid karate not be your whole entire life, right? But that's because that's really what the show narrative
Exactly.
is. But you know, but I do. Well, here's what's interesting. What Tim said kind of sparked me a little bit is, you have on one end, LaRusso wants his daughter to take over the dealership. She's not interested in that. That's not what her future vision is. And then on the flip side is you have Miguel with a future vision to go to Stanford, and his mom kind of shits on it and says it's too expensive. So you got the one parent wanting something for their daughter that the daughter doesn't want to do. Then you got the son wanting to do something that the mom doesn't want him to do because of money. So it's just, again, just very different, and just laying character groundwork and parenting. And again, it's just soap opera telling at its best, and just laying all these nuggets. And like, it's just amazing to me. And like we said it 100 times, how absolutely ridiculous and absurd this show is. But the writing is so fucking good. Just really, really good.
All right, Scott.
Sorry, this was the scene. I know I spoke about it earlier where Johnny asked Anthony if he's having Whopper Juniors. This was here. My 1,000 apologies. But I love seeing them all together. And also, like, you know, we sort of know that Johnny and Carmen are hooking up or dating. But, like, how's Miguel not seeing this? Like, come on, Miguel. Like, come on, pay attention, buddy. Why would Johnny be coming here to dinner? Like, come on. This is like a couples only thing, buddy. Like, I don't even think they let Anthony sit at the table. They're like eating the doghouse, you fucking piece of shit. But
Jesus Christ.
But no, I like them coming together. But like, one thing I have with like these things is like, oh, it's too much money. It's like, you be like the rest of us, Miguel, and you get in so much student loan debt you can't pay for it. That's how you go to Stanford, Miguel. I don't think they give karate scholarships. Unconfirmed, though.
Okay. All right. So Terry has flashbacks to Nam, and he knows he has to help Johnny like he promised years ago. Kenny shows up at Cobra Kai looking for Robbie and asks for help. Kreese says he has to prove himself, but he's too afraid and is dismissed. Johnny trains the Miyagi-Do kids, and Daniel trains the Eagle Fang kids. Sam gives Johnny a hard time, but he reminds her to go after what she wants. Silver shows up at Cobra Kai, annoyed at Kreese for bringing up the past, and Terry almost fights him. All right, so Shawn, we get Silver is getting back into the fray here. Kenny looks for Robbie, and we get the other guys training the other guys' students. What's happening?
Yeah, so okay, I don't want to jump the gun on this one. I know that Samantha's being trained. This isn't the building part yet. We're not there yet, right?
Yeah, we're almost up to the building.
All right, so I don't want to talk about that till we get there, because that is one of the most absurd scenes, and that's where I'm going to cut my big Samantha promo. But yeah, it's okay, them trading back and forth. It's Samantha, Miss Bitch do-gooder that plays both sides of the fence and want to be all sweet and innocent and then tear everybody's heart out. Pushing back on Johnny is kind of amusing to me. If I were Johnny, I would have told her to go get the fuck. As far as the Silver thing showing up, yeah, it's, again, just the evolution. We saw him at the start in this hoity-toity social environment. Then we see him spin kick the wine bottle, and here he is showing up at Cobra Kai. So it looks like he's officially back at Cobra Kai. So definitely laying the groundwork for some interesting things ahead for one Mr. Silver.
All right, Scott.
Oh, it's no longer Terrence. It's now Terry. He comes back, doesn't have his hair in a ponytail quite yet. That's when the transformation is complete. But it was pretty nice seeing him back because, I watch one trailer for stuff that I like, so I'm not spoiled too much. I'd watched one trailer for this. I'd forgotten about the trailer, so I was like, damn, maybe Terry Silver is just like not going to show up anymore after episode 1. So that was nice to see. But yeah, it was just a fun part, and I liked how they're training each other's squads. I thought that was very, very touching, which I can't wait for Shawn's promo.
All right, Tim.
I like that it took us a good 3 episodes to get to the point where Terry is now back on board with this whole karate business. Like that would have been sort of abrupt and maybe I don't know, just a little too sudden if we just have Kreese call him up and he pushes back a little bit at first, but then at the end of that first episode, hey, I'm back. Like we're getting an actual slow burn here with this character, and it's some restraint that I think is uncharacteristic of this show and its characters. But like props to who's the actor, Thomas Ian Griffin, right? Like when's the last time we really saw him in anything? He certainly hasn't been on my radar in a while. But he's kind of been killing it with this whole having to swing back and forth between these two worlds, really. And it's like you can tell Kreese got under his skin, and like he still has that need to prove himself to Kreese, even though he is really the one holding all the cards now. Like he has all the power in the world to make this whole thing sink or swim, right? He has the money, he has the resources. He could honestly be calling the shots, but because of his need for acceptance and his need to pay off this like karmic debt that he feels will just always be following him because of their past, he doesn't recognize the power that he has in this situation. And I just like what they're setting up here. That's all I'll say on that.
All right. So Robbie shows up at Kenny's house and shows Kenny a few moves. Daniel helps out Miguel's mother when her car breaks down. He uses it to show Miguel how to fix cars and bond with him about how similar they are. Sam jumps off the building.
Sam jumps off the building.
It's not what you think, because she doesn't plummet to her death, unfortunately. But
flashback to Kreese and Terry when they get their tattoos and plan to start the dojo, but Terry had to follow us. Jojo, yeah, and Goliath. Terry commits to Cobra Kai again, thinking about Kreese. Johnny tells Carmen how he feels, and she agrees. They kiss. Kenny tries out again for Cobra Kai and gets in, but Johnny gets jealous when he shows up in Miyagi-Do, and Daniel and Miguel are bonding. And that's how we end the episode. So, Scott, take us home on this one.
I love Johnny Lawrence, but I wish he cared about his fucking kid as much as he cares about Miguel. Like, Jesus. Like, what are we doing?
I mean, he's got to care about Miguel.
Well, Miguel is his kid. Miguel is his kid when you think about it.
But it was very nice, and like I don't know, like Johnny getting upset, but like I loved how he was like shit talking all the Miyagi-Dos when they were up on the building where they're, and like Dimitri's like says like that's like 4 of whatever the little kid's name was, and he's like, don't use me as a metric
yes
for height. And I loved how you put 2 mattresses down there. It's like, yeah, if you die, you die. And then like, Sam jumps off like she's fucking E.T. or something. And then yeah, it was just absurd. But Terry got the ponytail in, so we see Terry Silver and the path he's going down. And with this episode, he's kind of seems more benevolent than Kreese, because like he's coaching up Kenny and everything. So you're thinking like, oh, maybe we'll see something with that. But as we'll see in later episodes, that's not always the case. But yeah, it just made me. I don't agree with how Netflix does their drops, because it, oh, woe is me, it tortures the 4 of us as we're doing this podcast. But with something like this, I did not want to leave the couch to watch an episode, anything else. So I was hooked and ready for episode 4.
Yeah, and he's also, totally ghosting Cheyenne there. So, Terry's really getting it. All right, Tim.
So what are we setting up here with the Terry Silver character. It's like, okay, he wants to get back into Kreese's good graces now. He's feeling this karate lifestyle again. But he is a more measured and balanced person after all of his decades of growth. You know, he's past the days of terrorizing a teenager while doing blow nonstop. So he's actually sort of without realizing it, I think, bringing a modicum of restraint and sanity to this insane Cobra Kai karate dojo, which is run by an insane militant human being. And maybe, just maybe, is going to give them the edge that they need to actually pull this whole thing off and win the All Valley. So continue following that thread. Sam sort of calling out Johnny on his bullshit, like some of his training methods are legit dangerous. Is maybe a nice touch, needed to be said at a certain point by a character like that. But then she goes ahead and just has to prove it. This is an episode about people having to prove themselves, I guess. So I will leave that one to Shawn because I want to hear his promo against Sam here, who I think I'm a little bit more tolerant of than Shawn is, but that should prove to be entertaining. As was this episode as a whole and this season. I'm very similar to Scott in not being able to pry myself off the couch. Like as soon as those credits come up, my Netflix doesn't miss a beat. It's just like you've got about 0.5 seconds to pause it and say watch credits before that next one fires up. Like it's like, no bitch, you ain't going nowhere.
All right. Shawn.
Yeah, you can make it the trifecta on the whole. I'm not moving from my couch. Like literally, I went through the whole. I think all of us went through the whole season in the span of 24 hours. But anyway,
Yeah.
what was the first thing I was going to? Oh, the first thing I wanted to talk about was the dynamic of Miguel with Daniel and the Sam. Before I cut my promo on Sam and the Sam and Johnny thing, what this is laying the groundwork is for them to have opposing views in terms of what their father or their sensei is. So obviously Daniel's going to become close with Miguel. Sam wants to adapt as time goes on. You will see the Sam and Johnny thing develop a little bit in terms of Sam getting a little more maybe a fierceness to her. But let me talk about Sam for a minute. And here's why I hate Sam. Over the last few years, this freaking tramp has broken Robbie's heart, broken Miguel's heart, freaking, talks a lot of shit. Not granted, her and Tori instigated a lot of that, but Sam, doesn't help it. She instigated it. And there's further episodes this season where I hate her even more on stuff she does. Because in a lot of aspects, she's like her bully ass brother, Anthony. But her little portly ass trying to play Wonder Woman and jump the building. Her portly ass runs across that building and leaps across the building and lands and does a fucking roll like she's Wonder Woman. Bullshit. That girl would have freaking fallen. She would have made it but a few inches off that building and she would have fell to her death. That totally suspended disbelief. I wish she had fallen to her death because I absolutely hate her. Because she is a manipulating, conniving little tramp bitch, and I hate her. That's my promo.
Wow. Brutal.
But I'm not wrong. Has she not broken two guys' hearts on this show? And then, by the way, Miguel's an idiot to take her back once again.
She also started the whole thing by crashing into Johnny's car.
Exactly. So why are we pretending that this girl is Miss freaking Sweetie Pie when she's sorry?
Sir.
I apologize. Andy, feel free to bleep that one out. I apologize for that. I really don't like her.
Getting that sense.
As far as her being portly, I'll just say I don't think they're doing her any favors, like in the wardrobe department.
I know. Listen,
right.
That was just me being an ass. She's not really portly. That's just me being an asshole. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, she looks like a healthy young woman. It's good to see that on television, but yeah, I don't know if they're making the best choices in terms of just what she is made to wear because she's supposed to look like, this high school student.
Well, and by the way, there's no fat shaming in that because I'm a portly guy myself, but so there's no fat shaming there, but you're right. It could be the clothes because I don't think the clothes Like, if you look at the clothes between her and Tori, it's very clear that they like Tori more than Sam when it comes to the wardrobe department.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why they are doing that. Because it's not very flattering.
Because they just want to anger me.
Young
That's why. They want to make me even angrier. Yeah, it's me.
All right. Any other thoughts about the first 3 episodes before we wrap it up, guys?
I love it. The first 3 episodes are amazing, and it just sets up a whole season of just crazy, batshit ridiculousness. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also Kyler getting punched in the face by Kenny. At the end of the episode, I love that. I hate Kyler.
Fuck Kyler. Fuck him.
The most surprising thing for me is I thought Karate Kid 3, like all of us, was terrible. And I am enjoying, like, Terry Silver, and I just hated him so much in that movie because he was just a coked out 80s guy. And here, like, there's a story to him, and I'm really enjoying. Like, I am very happy he's here. I didn't know how I'd feel about it when we got to the season, but I absolutely love that he's here. Love it.
I'm feeling the same way.
Yep.
They really redeem him, because we can all agree Cobra Kai 3 is shit.
Karate Kid.
Cobra Kai 2 is kind of shit.
Karate Kid.
Kind of a shit franchise.
Yeah, I mean, besides the first one, yeah. But no, we're off to a hot start with this season, and they're only going to turn the temperature up even more, which you guys will hear in our next 2 episodes.
All right, very good. So that's about wrap this up here on Pop Goes to the Couch with our first of our 3 Cobra Kai Season 4 pods for Shawn Kidd, Scott Shifflett, and Tim Capel. I'm Andy Atherton. We will check you out on the next episode. Also, be sure to check us out. Our coverage of the Book of Boba Fett dropping each week. All right, talk to you then.